He would fight with his fists if he could. He'd chop them down like bits of wood. They were facing a dancer, learning the music. It's a free education, I'm sure you could use it. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Finding the schoolies in their best weekend get-up. He'd steal the birds off the boys who're too pished to get it up. Get it on, he'd take them down the woods if the rain was on. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. He'd do his usual, he'd wind up the police. They'd beat him up, their weekly release. Fry up delivered to his bedside in the cell. Later they'd run him home, understanding that he fell. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Sunday night, the town's full of ghosts, sleeping off hangovers and roasts. The quick one a chaser, police still in bed. Looks like Shank's pony tonight, time to head. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting. Wandering and dazed, they'd seen her all about him. He was babbling and crazed. She opened her eyes and he's seen right in. The music had surrounded him, he felt it from within. He'd blisters on his feet and his arms were in pain, and he'd danced the length of Strathspey in the rain. Now Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing. He hits the floor on a Saturday night. Girls cluster round him, their skirts are so tight. And he walks them home through the woods, I suppose. See him early Sunday morning looking for their clothes. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing. Friday and Saturday night for George is all about dancing.
Song there about the rehabilitative effects of folk music. That's Finlay Napier and the Barroom Mountaineers. George, a taste of what's to come on the forthcoming album. You can see them live at Cambridge Folk Festival and the performing at St Bride's Acoustic Centre during the Edinburgh Festival in August. Welcome, you're listening to the Garden Sessions. Garden Sessions at UK. Contact us at podcast at gardensessions.co.uk. We're also available at 98.8 in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, where Leith lives. I'm Jack Foster, and joining me ever are the Jack Bauer and Tony Almeida of the folk scene. I'm talking, of course, of Frank Burkitt and Dave the Angles Gimble.
Lovely to be here.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here.
Indeed.
The sun's shining. It's a pleasant evening outside in Edinburgh.
Who cares?
Who cares? Has it come to that?
I think I'm probably the only person in Britain who hasn't actually watched 24, so I'm not too sure. I think Jack Bauer's the main guy. The handsome guy.
He's the man you'd want to be.
I'll be him.
Essentially. Well, Tony's alright. Anyway, Frank, what's on the show?
The usuals. We've got the folky news coming up. We've got the download chart, of course, the letters bag. And we've got a feature.
Dave, can you give us any idea of what's happening in the download chart this week?
I'll tell you about the feature later. Don't worry.
Do.
It's very exciting, but not quite as exciting as the feature.
Well, the feature, I'll tell you now, it's Jed Milroy at the Dalriada.
Ooh,
yes, which is a good feature. But Dave, you know, you're looking awfully rosy this evening. Anything you want to tell us?
No.
Okay.
Any hints on your angle?
Hints on the angle. There is recruitment involved.
Recruitment,
63 episodes and you still have to be prompted.
Recruitment involved.
Recruitment. Is it something about war?
There's maybe a hint.
Could be
of
war.
Is it
army
the recruiting
recruitment.
sergeant?
Or a temp agency.
Or TWAR recruiting sergeants? Is that what
I'm
it's
thinking
called?
war.
I think it's something to do with war. Dave, any idea of the movers, the shakers in the download chart? Can you give us any?
There's lots going on.
The new entries, the
There's
re-entries.
lots going on. Frank, I
4
imagine,
climbers
is
and 1 non-mover,
particularly
I
excited.
understand, Dave.
Fine.
See,
right,
Jack
let's
knows
give it
it
all
all.
away. Tell them the number one now, why don't we?
No.
Got to build
It's
the
not how it's
excitement,
done.
Foster.
I don't know what it is, Dave. You don't tell us that much. Anyway, that's what's coming up in the show this week. It's all very exciting. But Dave, our next song that we're going to hear, this is a wee treat.
It is. The next
Big
song
tree,
we're going
I'd
to
say.
hear is
I said wee. I meant big.
is Carolyn and Ona Scott with Old Tea Stains.
Mammoth.
Scared she'd never be more than the sum of her parts. She tore her skin to match her soul, and scared she'd seen the end before she saw the start. She threw her dreams into the cold, and her scars tell her stories, and her songs sing her pains, for a life covered over with alcohol and old tea stains. The light shone in her eyes, but behind them darkness looms. She lost herself amid the world. Into the heaven she would look for an angel to come and save her from the aching cold. And her scars tell her stories, and her songs sing her pains, for a life covered over with alcohol and old tea stains. She lay her life out on the line for the whole world to see. She wore her heart upon her sleeve, and unable to see through to what she could be, so damaged by the dream she once believed. And her scars tell her stories, and her songs sing her pains, for a life covered over with alcohol and old tea stains. And so scared she'd never be more than the sum of her parts. She tore her skin to match her soul.
Song which saw Carolyn and Ona Scott win the Royal Oak Songwriting Competition earlier this year, and that's available to buy along with other tracks in the Bothy shop at gardensessions.co.uk. So there you go. That's called Old Tea Stains. We've got the folky news coming up in a moment, but Dave, remind us what's still to come on the show.
Still to come, obviously. Pretty much now is the folky news. We've got the download chart after that, and then the angle and some Tom's Folk Odyssey and letters bag, as well as the very special.
And
Jen
I understand that
feature.
Tom's Folk Odyssey this week is a very special one because it's a live link-up.
It is
We're going to be linking up live with New Zealand.
We will be
That's
speaking
exciting.
to the other side of the world.
I would say it's ambitious.
It is ambitious, but it does have the potential to be one of the best folk odysseys yet.
It does. So get your hopes up, people. Get them up now. Dave, we had one clue, one hint for the angle. There's recruiting involved.
Yes.
So we're thinking it's about war.
Or a temp agency, but probably war.
And there's also a violent reversal of fates.
A reversal of fates.
Yes.
Reversal
a
of
violent
fate.
reversal.
A violent
reversal. So is it about war? I think it might be about war.
A backward shooting rifle. Maybe.
Good guess, Frank.
Nice, Frank.
You're
nice.
right on
like
the
that.
track.
What it is, though, is that no.
How do you know?
Frank.
It's news. It's folk.
What is it, Frank?
It's the folky news. And the folky news brought to you this week, as ever, in association with Paddy Bort's Wee Folk Club.
Well, every Sunday night at the Oak, we've got the Wee Folk Club at 8:30. An intimate venue, 30 seats, acoustic. It's a great night out. We've got fantastic musicians and singers. Every Sunday night, do come along.
Sunday the 6th of July at the Wee Folk Club. It's John Hinchelwood, an established name on the Scottish roots country and folk music scene, gaining a reputation as a singer and writer of finely crafted country-influenced songs. More info, royal-oak-folk.com.
Sounds good.
Top story this week. Former featured artist Susanna MacDonald released her much-anticipated album Best of Nothing Yet at the Voodoo Rooms, Edinburgh, on the 21st of June. Coincidentally, the 21st of June 1864 was actually the date of Edinburgh's last ever public execution outside St Giles Cathedral.
So is there something in there? Is there a connection there, Frank?
None at all. That date just jumped out at me. The five song gem, which is the album Best of Nothing Yet, was not only written, performed, and produced by Susanna. You might say it's a case of sisters doing it for themselves.
You might say that.
You might. Susanna cut her teeth on the local circuit, moulding her own mix of intricate guitar parts and melodies and intelligent song structures to form her distinctive sound. Jack spoke to Susanna last year when she was one of the Garden Sessions featured artists, and he asked her about one of the tracks which appears on the new album, Succubus.
This was one that I had the line. I thought of the line for about a year before I wrote the song. I thought the succubus would keep sucking you dry, and it's not dodgy. Though a succubus is a female sexual demon, it's not about that.
Right.
It was about someone who had a major impact on my life. An old friend came back into my life after 7 years, and it brought up a lot of things from the past, and it's also about kind of when you go a bit mental and you start talking things over to yourself, trying to relive conversations.
Tonight I've been drawn across everything that's possible. Compliments compliment my ego, but I see it in melancholy silence, 'cause I know my muse is somewhere in this town. So take it away as I relive all these times and the things I then said, talking to the ear. I can't tell what's real or what's just in my head. So give it away, 'cause there's nobody left here to pay for the trouble I brought and now brought on myself.
And Succubus by Susanna MacDonald, and her new album The Best of Nothing Yet is out now, and you can get more information at susannamacdonald.com. Second story, a bit of a controversial one this week. The streets of Edinburgh have for years been synonymous with the sound of pibroch, but bagpipers on the capital's Royal Mile have recently been banned from playing amidst threats of having their instruments seized or receiving antisocial behaviour orders or ASBOs if they return.
Shameful.
That seems quite extreme.
Utterly shameful.
It's a bit of a shock, I think, for pipers especially.
But anyway.
City Centre Sector Inspector, that's easy to say, Bruce Johnston said of the move, these pipers are regarded as unlicensed trade and are technically buskers. Most of the pipers do not reside in the city centre.
Technically, they are.
And they are receiving quite large sums of money for what they're doing. Some of them are coming over from Glasgow, working in shifts and making £80 an hour, which they don't pay any tax on. So it amounts to quite a good illegal earner. Well, I would think, I would like to say, we'll just make them, declare it to the tax man and your job's over.
That's it. That's all you need
to
make it.
Joining me on the line, though, now, listeners, I've got him live here on the line, is Garden Sessions correspondent and folk commentator Chris Silver. Chris, is this just a storm in a teacup, or is it something that was bound to happen?
Well, I don't know whether it was bound to happen or not. I think anyone would be shocked at the idea of buskers being fined or criminalised for plying the trade, because of course busking is one of the most honest forms of making money.
Indeed.
That we know. I would say, however, that there are several, perhaps too many pipers in the centre.
I would agree with that, I have to say.
The sound of one piper is the equivalent of 5 other normal buskers, and they are obviously perhaps not there so much for the music as for photo opportunities. So I would suggest that if we had a different approach to busking, where we tried to get a bit more variety out there on the street, that would be better. But I do not think that this is the way to go about it.
No, possibly not.
If it's just a photo opportunity, could they not just stand there and not play the pipes?
And surely also there's a lot of tourists in Edinburgh, and there's maybe not enough pipers to go round for all the photos that need to be taken.
I think there are.
Good for tourism, though. Good for tourism, but maybe a few less of them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Chris Silver. Keep up to date with all the latest folky news at gardensessions.co.uk/news. That's the folky news. Slap me in the belly with a wet jingle.
The official Garden Sessions download chart. The official Garden Sessions download chart.
This is the official Garden Sessions download chart, based on free downloads from gardensessions.co.uk.
Free downloads, did you say?
Bit more urgency.
They are. At 10,
bit more urgency in your voice,
from
Dave.
Sophie Terscuro with Peggy Gordon. At 9, another re-entry. Laurie Watson 3 with When Maggie Gangs Away. At 8, it's up 1 for Sinead Connolly with In a Sheer.
Whistles.
That's Whistle, all right.
That is in
more
question.
haste, less speed, Dave.
At 7, down 5 for Scott Gardner with Breamy's Bonham Doctor. At 6, it's 7.
Yep.
See, I was going too quick for myself. At 6,
more
it's
haste,
down 2
less
with
speed.
Andy Chung, The Penny Falls. At 5, a non-mover for The Arrows with Black is the Colour.
Booyah.
At 4, down 3, Frank Burkitt with
Denied.
And at that point the boy looked down and he saw the mud on his shoes, and he felt the pain that for the rest of his days he'd be labouring away his blues. He knew there was a world beyond his father's golden land, and he swore he'd be the first of the sons to rest his working hands.
I've never seen someone enjoy listening to his own music as much as Frank.
It's shameful.
It's the fiddling.
He was dancing. He was actually dancing.
At 3,
it's you, Frank.
At 3, it's up 4 for the Paul
means we have a
McKenna
new number
Band
1
with
then.
Lonely Man. It does indeed, that's true.
What was it, 3?
Glad you noticed that. Paul McKenna Band, Lonely Man.
Good.
At
Good
2,
to see.
up 4 again, the Paul McKenna Band with Take My
It's
Hand.
McKenna madness.
They're very close to the top.
Which means, and sometimes I must confess, I wish we could change the chart a little bit. The official
Oh,
Garden Sessions
that's a very
download chart, number
bit
1.
biased.
Up 2, Sinead Connolly with Eileen Owen.
Oh.
He's back again.
Eileen Ogan, that's me darling name, is through the barony. Her features there were famous, and if you loved her, who were there to blame us? Wasn't she the pride of Patravore? Beauty made us all so shy, and not a man could look her in the eye. Boys, oh boys, sure that's the reason why we're mourning for the bride of Patravore. Eileen Oak, my heart has grown grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Oak, there's good for so they say, but there's none of them like the bride of Patravore. Friday at the Fair of Ballintober, Eileen met McGrath the cattle jobber. I'd like to set me mark upon the robber. He stole away the bride of Patravore. Never seemed to see the girl at all, even when she ogled him from underneath her shawl. Well, looking big and masterful when she was looking small, was broken for the bride of Patravore. Eileen Oak, my heart has grown grey ever since that day you wandered far away. Eileen Oak, there's good for so they say, but there's none like the bride of Patravore. So it went as 'twas in the beginning. Eileen Oak was bent upon the winning. Big McGrath contentedly was grinning, being courted by the bride of Patravore. Says he, I know a girl who could knock you in the fits. At this, Eileen, she merely lost her wits. The upshot of the notion was that now the robber sits with his arm around the bride of Patravore. Eileen Oak, my heart has grown grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen Oak, there's good for so they say, but there's none like the bride of Patravore. Wise, oh wise, it's fair 'tis hard to grapple of my eyes. Eileen was the apple, now to see her walk into the chapel, the hardest pictured man in Patravore. Wise, oh wise, is all I have to say. When you do your courting, make no display. If you want them to run after you, just walk the other way, for they're mostly like the bride of Patravore. Eileen Oak, my heart has grown grey ever since that day you wandered far away. Eileen Oak, there's good for so they say, but there's none of them like the bride of Patravore.
Sinead Connolly, Eileen Oak, number 1 for the 70 millionth time on the Garden Sessions chart, like a drip from a tap when you're trying to get to sleep.
But obviously, impeccable taste, as
Impeccable
always,
taste.
listeners.
Yes. Yes.
A bit strong there,
No,
Frank.
I apologise.
You're veering into Dave territory almost.
I
Well,
am.
not quite.
No,
Not quite.
no, I'm
Frank,
not there yet.
what's coming up on the show? What's still to come?
Right about now, we've got the angle, but after that, we'll have the letters bag, and we will have Tom's Folk Odyssey, a live link up. Hopefully, that will all go to
that will
plan.
be exciting. I'm
And
looking
a
forward to it.
feature, Jed Milroy at the Dowriada, which was a very good session, albeit I wasn't there.
Indeed. Now, Dave, you gave us 2
But it was
hints. There was recruiting involved, and what was it? A violent reversal of fate.
Yes, a violent reversal of
Frank, have you any idea?
Not a clue.
I can't.
I cannot
I've got nothing.
think.
Nothing.
There's so many folk songs out there.
It could be almost anything.
Needle in a haystack, Jack. Needle in a haystack.
Indeed, indeed. Dave, put us out of our misery. Please, what's your angle?
The angle this week is Paul Brady and Arthur McBride.
Cousin one Arthur McBride, as we went a-walking down by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning. Out for recreation we went on a tramp, and we met Sergeant Napper and Corporal Vamp, and a little wee drummer intending to camp, for the day being pleasant and charming. Good morning, the sergeant did cry, and the same to you, gentlemen, we did reply, intending no harm, but meant to pass by, for it being on Christmas morning. But says he, my fine fellows, if you will enlist, it's 10 guineas in gold I will slip in your fist, and a crown in the bargain for to kick up the dust, and drink the king's health in the morning. For a soldier he leads a very fine life, and he always is blessed with a charming young wife, and he pays all his debts without sorrow or strife, and always lives pleasant and charming. And a soldier he always is decent and clean, in the finest of clothing he's constantly seen, while other poor fellows go dirty and mean, and sup on thin gruel in the morning. Well, says Arthur, I wouldn't be proud of your clothes, for you've only the lend of them, as I suppose, and you dare not change them one night, for you know if you do, you'll be flogged in the morning. And although that we are single and free, we take great delight in our own country, and we have no desire strange places to see, although that your offers are charming. And we have no desire to take your advance, all hazards and dangers we bar to your own chance, where you would have no scruples for to send us to France, where we would get shot without warning. Oh, now, says the sergeant, I'll have no such chat, and I neither will take it from Spalpeen or Brat. For if you insult me with one other word, I'll cut off your heads in the morning. And then Arthur and I, we soon drew our odds, and we scarce gave them time for to draw their own blades, when a trusty shillelagh came over their heads and bade them take that as fair warning. And their old rusty rapiers that hung by their side, we flung them as far as we could in the tide. Now take them out, devils, cried Arthur McBride, and temper their edge in the morning. And the little wee drummer, we flattened his his pow, and we made a football of his rowdy dow. Threw it in the tide for to rock and to roll, and bade it to tedious returning. And we haven't no money, paid them off in cracks, and we paid no respect to their two bloody backs, for we lathered them there like a pair of wet sacks, and left them for dead in the morning. And so, to conclude and to finish disputes, we obligingly asked if they wanted recruits, for we were the lads that would give them hard clouts and bid them look sharp in the morning. Oh, me and me cousin one Arthur McBride, as we went a-walking down by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning.
Frank, you picked out a particular lyric.
I did. The lyric that I picked out was, and we made a football of his rowdy dow.
Well, we'll get to that. It will all be explained.
Yes, that doesn't make much sense. It's Paul Brady, Arthur McBride. Dave, what's your angle? Yes, it's angle time again.
It begins with this chap and his cousin, who's
63,
called
63 of these.
63.
Arthur McBride.
You've not sat through 63 of them.
Technically only 62.
The first episode.
61 actually, because there's 2 New Years.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
We're just dragging this out longer, boys.
Let's do it.
Anyway, starts off with this chap and his cousin Arthur McBride, and they're taking a nice walk. It's a nice day, and they're down by the seaside.
Is it a nice day?
It's Christmas morning.
Christmas
of course it's a nice
morning.
day.
Are
It's
they
a crisp, clean winter's
down
day.
by the Dalriada? Portobello?
Possibly somewhere on the promenade.
In keeping, you see.
It's rough on Christmas. I mean, windy as balls.
And they meet
Oh,
these.
man, I have to say
which are windy.
Windy
I don't
as
know. Is it a
balls?
family show? It's a family show.
family
I
show.
think that's acceptable. Apologies to any people with faint hearts.
Anyway, if we can get on with this slightly, they meet.
Sorry,
They
Dave,
meet
sorry.
these two army men, Sergeant Napper and Corporal Vamp, and a little drummer boy
Corporal
who's with them.
Vamp?
Corporal Vamp. That's what it
Bro,
says.
just carries a guitar. Ding 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 ding.
And they're thinking
Is he
of-
really called Corporal
he's called
Vamp?
Corporal Vamp, yes.
Well, there
And
you
they're
go.
thinking about setting up camp and you know staying down by the seaside because it's such
Yes,
a
called
nice
Corporal
day.
Vamp.
And
Camping
they
on-
shout out to them.
on the
They
beach.
say, They say, "All right, how's it going? You look like fine fellows. How would you like to enlist?"
Dave
you
just
know?
paraphrasing the lyrics as always here.
Well, that's fair enough.
You'll get
Quite a lot of them.
10 golden guineas, and it'll be, it'll
10
be
guineas
great.
in gold.
You'll get
I will
to
slip in your fist.
You'll get to drink all the time with all the money the king's going to give you because you're joining the army.
They never mention the
and then
actual
they basically then go on to
like war a bit when they talk about
well, this is the
enlisting.
thing. They go on to list the
Yeah, which
wonderful
sounds a bit
things
better.
about being a soldier. Like, it's a lovely
What
life.
are the
You
wonderful
get-
things?
You get a nice, charming young wife. You
Yeah.
you pay all your debts easily because you're getting paid
It's
well
like
by
that old
the army.
cartoon from the First World War of the trenches where they're advertising and they're all playing snooker in the trenches and stuff. and
Snooker?
they're sitting around smoking cigars and things.
Playing
There's a
snooker
couple of them of keeping
while
watch.
shells are
They've got a
going
roof.
over.
Ice
Yeah.
cream
Yeah.
in Berlin by lunchtime.
Exactly. And you always look nice because you got your spanking uniform and you're clean, and it's great fun being a soldier.
I have a feeling that Arthur McBride here is not going to take too
No,
kindly
he's a
to
bit more of a
this.
sensible
Is he being
chap.
taken in by it?
And he says, "Well, hold on a second. Don't be too proud of your fine clothing. It's a uniform. It's only a lend. If you don't give every bit of that clothing back shiny and clean, you get flogged.
And it's not going to be
you
shiny
can't,
and
You
clean,
can't wear
is it?
anything else. You're wearing a uniform, or you're going to get flogged. That's the way it is."
Can we
you
can
know.
we get onto the plot, Dave?
Well, he says all this kind of stuff.
This is the plot, Jack. Thick
Contradicting
plot.
entirely what he's saying. He's saying it's
Plotted
not going to be
green.
nice. You're not going to have any trouble with sending us off to get shot.
Think
we're
them
not going to
through
have.
first, right?
Yep.
We're,
Clotted cream.
Like clotted cream. Thick. But no. Dave, please continue.
Anyway,
Sorry.
he says, "Yeah, you're going to send us off to war. We're going to get shot. We're not going to have any warning. It's not like it's all fun and games. People die in war." And
Apparently.
the sergeant says, "Oh, hold on a second, you can't talk to me like that. I wouldn't take that from a child or a a bum or anything
Where's
like that."
Corporal Vamp?
I'll have no such chat, and I neither will take it from Spalpeen or Brat.
Yeah,
There you
exactly. And I'm gonna tan your hide. He says.
He says,
I'm
"Actually,
gonna
I'll
give
cut
you a
off
thumb."
your heads in the morning."
Yes, he
Not
does.
tan your head.
Everything happens in the morning in this song.
It does.
So,
So Boxing Day, I'll cut off their heads if
So the
gives
guy,
them any of that chat.
the
Well,
man singing
Christmas
the
Day,
song
I
and
suppose.
Arthur take their swords out, and they give him a good hiding.
What the army
They give
men?
the army men a good hiding.
Arthur and his cousin
Yeah.
gives the army men.
And they take their swords
So-
off them and they fling them into the sea and
Hold
say,
on.
and say
So they don't
that's what you get.
So they don't even sign up.
No, they don't sign up. It says.
That's the
Well, this
the
is where the
violent
rowdy,
reversal
the,
of
the,
fate.
the
there.
rowdy dow dow bit comes
If the
in.
MOD are listening,
Well,
continue.
Basically,
Arthur
what
McBride's hereafter.
the rowdy dow dow bit.
That's the
Frank,
name of
that
the
you were
guy.
asking about is
He's got a cousin.
the drummer boy. They punch him in the
think
face,
it was a
steal his
while ago,
drum, flatten his drum, and turn
There
it
was
into
a-
a football.
so there's a
Start
drummer boy.
kicking it about the
So
beach.
quick recap before you give us the moral, Dave.
If anyone's still
Quick
listening,
recap. Arthur McBride and his cousin strolling on the beach on Christmas morning, meet two soldiers. Soldiers say, "Do you want to enlist?" They say, "No," because you get shot. They say, "How dare you speak to us like that?" They say, "Right, have it."
And give them a
take
good
their
hiding.
swords, throw the army men's swords in the sea, punch the crap out of the drummer boy, and make a football out of his rowdy dow dow.
this is much
Yeah.
better than the angle.
Do we have time? Do we have time for the interesting lyrical bits?
See, I summed it up in 45 seconds.
Go for it. Do what you've got to do, Dave.
And we having no money paid them off in cracks is like people used to pay the army
Paid them off in what?
in cracks, in punches. People used to
Okay.
pay the recruiting sergeants off so
Thought
they
there was
wouldn't
maybe-
have to be recruited and go to war, so they could skip the draft, and they didn't have any money, so they paid them by beating
Good
the crap out
knowledge,
of them.
Dave.
And
He knows his stuff.
showed them no respect, sent them off tails between their legs, and
They had
refused to enlist.
tails.
Where did the tails come in? What verse was that? About the third, maybe the
As I
fourth?
say, these were very nice uniforms. They were made of herb.
Oh, I see. The tails. Very good. Very good.
Dave, there's a question on everyone's lips, I'm sure. What, if we're ready for it?
Yes, we are.
I
We're
think
ready
we're
for
ready
the
for it.
time.
What's the moral?
Can't be a moral.
The moral essentially is fight for your own cause and don't allow anyone to force you to fight for theirs.
But surely it's a
They
bit
fought.
hypocritical of Arthur McBride to say, "Look, we're not joining you because we'll get killed," and then
And
they
then
go off
killed.
and kill the.
I think that
Well,
maybe...
they don't kill anyone. It doesn't say they kill anyone. They just beat them up a
they've
bit.
got
Suggests-
bloody backs. It says, "And we paid no respect to their two bloody backs." So
well,
they've clearly
either
done
this
something.
could be
Paid no
because they've
respect.
given them a bit of a beating, or because, like most
Dave.
soldiers back in the day, they've been
Dave.
flogged at some point, so they got scars and
Dave.
stuff in their bloody backs.
What does
maybe.
paid no respect mean? Does that mean that when they're dead, that's...
No, they didn't show them any heed. They didn't care that they were soldiers and sergeants. They just went no respect.
I think they sound a bit heartless to me.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's Christmas.
they're trying to be
Yeah.
forced into enlisting in the army where they're
Yeah.
going to get shot for fodder.
Christmas is never going to be the same.
Yeah, no, I'm actually on the side of the two
Of
the two
Corporal Vamp.
sergeants, Corporal Vamp and Napper, Sergeant
The
Napper.
tailed
I suppose
sergeant.
kind
I'm
of
not
on
sure
their
about
side.
the sergeant because he does threaten to kill them. But
So the
Corporal
moral-
Vamp has nothing to do with
So
it.
the moral is really a bit up in the air.
It's a bit up in the air, but
The moral
I
is,
think essentially
don't kill
it's
anyone on
don't
the
allow
beach.
anyone to force you to
Christmas.
fight for something you don't
Well,
believe in.
any time.
Well,
Unless it's the Nazis
especially
and
at
Churchill
Christmas.
has said
You don't care about
specifically.
you don't care about what the moral is, do you?
No.
At all.
I can't see one.
It's hard,
Oh, fine then.
but we'll take that.
So
as a
what's the moral
The
then?
moral is don't allow anyone to force you to fight for their cause.
It'll do.
Right, is that your angle?
Yes.
That's brought us up to time. Time for time for tune time now. This is Cross Current and New Reels. Kane, Rachel McShane, David Wood, and Peter Tickell, and Lilius Kinsman Blake. That's Cross Current and New Reels.
They did sound very new.
There was no time for dancing in the bothy, though, because we just ended up getting into a raging argument about the moral of that angle.
Dragging out the angle debate.
Did we conclude it?
I think no. I don't think we did.
What was the upshot of the debate?
Well, we discovered it's an Irish song, and actually the Arthur McBride and the cousin were Irish men, and the two sergeant and the corporal were from the British Army, trying to get the Irish to enlist in the British Army. Now, if that had been made aware to me, Dave, during the angle, then I might have.
But I think the
moral
would
suggest you should know.
Was the moral not ultimately two wrongs don't make a right?
Yeah, I think yes.
It was what I said it was.
Two wrongs don't make a right is what I'm standing firm, and I think that's the moral. But we've gone back a step here, Jack. Yeah, I think we need to move on.
Garden Sessions Letters
Frank, you got the first letter
Well,
there?
the postie dropped it off fresh this morning. So he did. Dear Garden Sessions, much Garden Sessions goodness lately. Congratulations, gentlemen. But I just have to say, really, I am driven to comment that whoever conjured up the text which appears on this magical, spelt with a J and a K, I would like to point out,
I think that'll become apparent why, though.
has no idea about spelling and grammar, exclamation mark. I mean to say, there should be no apostrophe in MP3s. No, not one. Not a single one. And hysteria is spelt with a Y. It does not contain two I's. Just the one at the end.
Pedantry.
Gentlemen, I know you don't have Gaelic. I don't either, to be honest. But you should at least have English. That will be all. GT Melville from Falkirk. You're
That's a scathing attack.
You're a weird man, GT. You're a weird man. But thanks for your letter.
Off the Yorkshire accent for a man from
for your
Falkirk
letter.
as well.
From a Falkirkarian. What would you call a Falkirk person?
A Falky.
A Falky.
No, I've no idea. GT Melville, if you'd let us know, actually, what you call someone from Falkirk, that would be good.
That would be useful. Dave, you got another one there?
A Kirka.
I do indeed, and it says, Dear Garden Session.
A fall guy.
Anyway.
We're getting into nonsense. Second letter. Dear Garden Sessions, finally the summer is here. Looking forward to all the inevitable folky antics that the Garden Sessions has up its sleeve. Just wanted to ask if the show will be running weekly again through the Edinburgh Festival. Love the show. Keep up the good work. And that's saying.
Well, the Garden Sessions doesn't have much folky antics up its sleeve because it wears short sleeve shirts.
In the summer, at least.
Because it's summer, yeah.
But we will be doing lots of wonderful and interesting things. And yes, we will be weekly during the festival and all the festival folkiness that goes on. We will try and cover.
We'll be there. Is that letter bag? Letters bag, I think.
The letters bag. We're done with that.
The festival will be dealt with.
Sweep it under
Spelling
the rug.
is
in the bin.
Falkirkarians. And of course, you can contribute to the letters bag by emailing
podcast@gardensessions.co.uk or leaving your messages on the feedback forum.
But all you get is a barrage like that. You might not want to.
Yes. Indeed.
Well, the time has come, has it not, Jack?
It's time for Tom's Folk Odyssey. Let's link up live to New Zealand.
Tom's Folk Odyssey. He's across the world. It has come. It is finally.
Let's hope it's not a wrong number.
That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
That would be terrible.
It's taking an awfully long time.
It is taking a while. Tom, where are you?
Tom.
Folks, this is great radio.
Hi, it's Tom here. Leave a message.
Well, we should probably leave a message.
Hello, Tom.
Hi,
How
Tom.
you doing, Tom?
You're live on the Garden Sessions.
Your answering machine is live on the air right now.
If you get this, ring us back in the next 30 seconds. Be helpful.
And we can go crazy.
I hope New Zealand's great. Cheers, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom's Folk Odyssey. He's across the world. It has come. It's inadequate.
Never before did a jingle speak so much truth.
Oh, dear.
Frank.
Yes.
Introduce the feature.
The feature this week, listeners. Jed Milroy at the Dalriada pub in Portobello. Tuck in.
Silver and I are standing outside the Dalriada pub in Portobello now. We've just dropped in on Jed Milroy's session. It's Sunday evening and it's in full swing at the moment. Silver, how have you found the session down here so far?
Well, yes, I mean it's not, apparently it's not just a session. It is in fact a midsummer mini music fest, and it's some very good players in. Jed Milroy, of course, wonderful, and George Stott. John
Dignan's in as well, lurking around somewhere, I think, talking to Jack at the moment. It's actually the Summer Solstice Festival.
Indeed. And what a way to celebrate midsummer than with such excellent musicians. You know? Shall we go and hear some more?
We probably should, yeah. Let's get inside. I'm sitting in the back room of the Dalriada pub with Jed Milroy. Jed, you've just finished what was a lovely session. You've been running this session for a while now. Can you tell us a bit about the session itself and the kind of atmosphere and the musicians you have joining in with you every Sunday evening?
Yeah, well, the session started about probably about 14, 15 months ago. I was cycling cycling along Portobello Promenade, and just saw this pub. I hadn't seen it before, and came in for a coffee and got chatting with Terry, the owner. Really nice guy, and it's a completely family-owned pub. The family live upstairs, and Terry spent his whole life working in the whiskey trade, and he's retired out of that and bought a pub, and just along the lines of his ideal pub. And he's Irish, and so this pub is very much run along those lines. And in fact, Dalriada is Gaelic for heaven. I mean, often we get kids come down and kids joining in, which you don't usually see. It's a very family-orientated pub. Sometimes we get kids doing dancing and all kinds of things. Singing, of course. It's beautiful because it looks out across the Forth, and beautiful view, especially in the summer. You can watch the sun go down over the sea as you're playing.
When you fell asleep with blood on your teeth, I got in my car and drove away. Listen to me, butterfly. There's only so much wine you can drink one life. It'll never be enough to save you from the bottom of your glass, to save you from the bottom of your glass. Where the state highway starts, I stopped my car. I got out, stared up at the stars. Asked me to see yours die.
obviously it's been the summer solstice festival this weekend as well. Tell us a bit about what's been going on. You've been here all weekend providing some music for that.
Yeah, it's been the Dalriada Midsummer Mini Fest, as Terry calls it, which is basically just been the musicians that play here all the time. We've just decided to try and get everyone down over the weekend and play all weekend. And it's been really good, although the weather's been a bit rough, which hasn't been very good for getting people through the door. But we've had a really good time, and it just shows what a good group of people have been attracted to the place, because we've had great music all weekend, really good. And that wasn't here 14 months ago. That wasn't really happening, so it's been quite a short amount of time to build up a good scene, I think. Unfortunately, I've been away doing all kinds of things, and so missed Knockengorrick this year, and I'll be missing it in September as well. I'm really gutted about that. It's such a nice festival. I'll be popping in at Wickerman, I think, but just briefly. I've got other gigs I've got to get to, so it's been a good year for me, but I've been getting more away in Spain and doing outdoor education. I'm playing music alongside people going rock climbing and mountaineering and stuff, and I've been playing music in the evenings.
So how does that work exactly? Do you kind of rhythm them up the rock? Or?
Well, basically it's environmental education, outdoor environmental education. Essentially kind of taking people out into the outdoors and trying to cultivate a sense of reconnecting them to their environment in quite a not in a too hippie way, in quite a practical way of just getting them to think about the non-urban environment and how much we rely, in fact how we completely rely on natural resources to survive. And it's something that it obviously is very big in the news at the moment, and something I've been doing for a good few years, but it's really kicked off in popularity now, because people are kind of wondering why the price of fuel's going up, and wondering what all this climate change business is about. Now it's actually starting to affect them directly, and we're offering a kind of at least some degree of explanation and some kind of like hands-on kind of experience of getting back out into nature and trying to think about these problems at the same time. And it seems to be going very well. People are responding very well to it. We're working mostly with businesses and also with students.
Well, it's been a fantastic session this evening, and hopefully we'll be back none too soon, Jed. No, thank you very much.
It's always great to see you boys, and hopefully we'll see you soon on Sundays at Dalriada.
Cheers.
Says young James, in my opinion, there's nothing in this world beats a 52 life in a red girl. Now gnomes and breezes and Indians and Harleys walk. They don't have a soul like a Vincent 52. And he reached for her hand and he gave her keys. Said, I don't have it for the use of it. I see angels on aerials alone, coming down from heaven to carry me. And he gave her one last kiss and died. And he gave her his Vincent too. Watch out.
It's that quick.
running
The
rapidly out of time.
That's us.
It was a fantastic feature from Jed and a fantastic evening as well.
Very, very good. It was. Frank, what's our next week's show?
Next week's show, download
Fill us
chart,
in.
letters bag, folky news, all that stuff. Tom's Folk Odyssey, hopefully this time it will be less inadequate. But, no offence to the boys working hard in New Zealand with a lot of other projects. But hopefully something from that.
It was our fault. We decided to go live with it. And
we did. See, that's always a gamble when you go live.
Live radio, folks, it's a crazy world.
You've seen the TV blooper shows, the live,
That's just what every episode of the Garden Sessions is like.
We'll have another feature as well.
We will.
It'll all be fantastic.
It will be very exciting. Can you give us a hint about your ankle this far in advance?
No.
You can't. That's a shame. Well, till next time, from myself, Jack Foster, Frank Burkitt, Dave the Angles Gimble, take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Cheerio.